The Sydney rental market for a landlord hasn't done much the last 10 years, and for a tenant, they're on the edge of the seat, worried about rent going up. Let's talk about our forecast of what we think Sydney rental market is going to.
Morning.
Good morning.
This is a big topic again, Mark.
It's a big one. Did a good one yesterday.
Yesterday was a cracker. We're following it up again with another. Anything that's an explosion is obviously a big deal, but we're talking about rental prices in Sydney, our 3-year forecast. What are the feelers in the market?
Do you know what? It's been a while. When you look at all the data for rent, when I say data for rent, the median. So median, obviously adding up all the rentals in the area, dividing them by how many rentals in the area, got your median. And look, most parts of Sydney median, I think we looked at, for instance, Parramatta yesterday. I think it was 400 for a unit. I think Northern Beach was DY was 575 for a unit. It was interesting looking at those sort of rents. It was interesting looking at those rents and what they'd done over the last 10 years. It brought the question up for us today of the next 10 years, where we think the market's going to be going. So there's markers out there, hey, and people are buying. It's cheap. There's incentives. It's cheaper to buy than
You're gone.
It is to rent at them.
There you go. Yeah, it's
I'm here.
Well, we were talking before we got on live. It's for a landlord, they've been looking at their statements, thinking I haven't really had much of an increase over the last 10 years compared to the sales market. And for the tenants, we're thinking, look at the sales market booming. My rent hasn't changed for a few years now. What do I do? Am I going to be whacked with a $60 increase?
Well, that's right. Your tenants are worried about that rent going up. And look, I think for a landlord, there's two ways a landlord makes money. So a landlord will make money from capital growth, how much the value of the property goes up. So if the unit goes up from 500,000 to 700,000, the landlord's made 200 grand. Then the landlord also makes money on the rental yield on the property. So how much it brings in per year minus strata, water, council, land tax and agent fees and maintenance. Don't care about the value of the property going up because they live off the
reception's awful, Mark. But yeah, it's a big one.
The income of the property, and that while all the costs have gone up for landlords, strata.
Come on, Mark.
Pardon?
Your reception's pretty awful this morning. But good morning, everyone. We got a few comments. Luke,
I'm back.
He was caught in a bidding war for a rental house. We've seen that over the last few months. People getting just outbid. Left, right,
Yeah, and you got me back?
I've got you back, yeah.
You got me back? And what you're talking about outbidding there, what's been interesting and coming to the forecast of what we reckon, also as an observation and a marker, is stock levels have dried up in the rental market. So we're the largest rental agent on the Northern Beaches. We manage, 4,000 landlords and tenants and properties for these guys. And we normally carry about 50 to 60 rental properties at any one time. So we've got teams of rentals crew that are going out renting those properties. What's been really interesting is we are now witnessing the lowest number of available rentals on the market within our office. So that number has gone down from 50 to 60 to 15 to 20 for lease at the moment.
Yep.
So our stock levels have gone down by 60 to 70%. So which leads to what you were just saying, it's drying up and there's bidding, and what Luke was just saying, it's drying up and there's bidding wars.
Yeah, well, Luke said he paid $100 increase over what was advertised. Crazy.
Yeah, nuts. Tate, you got Tate's comment there?
Yeah, unbelievable up here.
Tate.
A rental crisis, lack of housing. Each year the problem compounds. So they're actually seeing it getting worse.
All right. So that's then leading into our prediction when you're looking at those markers, guys, and we're looking at people moving around. What I've also noticed is that people actually are willing to spend more of their wage percentage than they ever have before, which is a real interesting one. So people's appetite for a better rental property is larger than it was. And how that works is if you're not using your property, you will tend to downgrade it and you would tend to go to something a little bit less expensive because you're overseas all the time or because you're not living there maybe. But what's happening now is people are not in the office as much. And where are they? They're at home more. So the percentage that people are willing to spend in
You're gone again.
Of their wage back into their home is higher because they're using it that Telstra back.
That's right. Well, that's the nature of the game, really. We've seen it a little bit everywhere. The classic one bedroom apartment has maybe suffered a little bit compared to the one bedroom with a study. And then you move up a scale, maybe the 3-bedroom apartments suffer a little bit because people are now looking for a house, a little bit more space. They're in the home a lot more.
So, Billy Boy, what's the forecast? What is the forecast, in your opinion, in the rental market the next 3 years, say?
I think we're going to see prices starting to shift in line with the rest of the market upwards. Like you said, big changes over the last 10 years really hasn't come about, like the capital growth, like the sale market. In saying that, rental yield, I think, is going to pick up a little bit. Rental yield's almost dropped off because it's just been so expensive. People can't really afford an investment property like they could before. My graph shows it pretty good, but you can't see the rest of it. Yeah, I think we're going to see a bit of a pickup. We've seen, I'll give you an example, a 2-bedroom apartment in DY, $800 a week at one point seemed completely far-fetched, really unrealistic. And all of a sudden in the last 2 months, I think, they've started to just pop up around us.
So my prediction for the rental market is it's going to explode. My prediction is the next 3 years, it will be the most unprecedented rental increases that we've ever seen in the marketplace. People always complain of wage growth when they're talking about rental growth or property price growth. That's clear and apparent. But at the moment, the rental market, the markers that I'm seeing in the rental market, and I've been doing this for 28 years, the rental markers that I'm seeing out there, and some of the markers, a lot of the markers we've spoken about this morning, are that there's going to be a rental explosion. So if you're a landlord, get ready. So some landlords may be disposing of their property because they think there's just not enough cash per year to sustain that property. you're now going to get that cash coming back. Tenants lock in longer leases. If you can lock in a 1 year or a 2 year lease, I would definitely be doing it, because I think it's going to be the climate of what we're seeing. So, and you know what, we don't make the market, we facilitate the market. But I'm not suggesting we're making the market by making these comments, but seeing these things that are happening in the marketplace, being facilitators in the rental market for landlords and for tenants, I guess people come to us for advice, and that's our advice.
Yeah. Buckle up.
Buckle up. Because if you look at if the median rent being $460 a week 10 years ago, and you look at the median rent now being your $550, it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed for 10 years, but everything has for a landlord in terms of costs. Your costs have gone up about 20%, except for your interest, by the way. What's Tate saying?
Approx 20% increase last year in our average rent in our rentals last 12 months.
Okay, so there you go. So so that's not really Sydney CBD. I think Tate's regional where he is, but I would say that's pretty incredible that these guys. I would say probably Newcastle, Port Macquarie, Coffs, Byron Bay, all of those places would be similar as well. They would have done about 20%, just in a year, but not Sydney, Tweed Coast, Coolangatta. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting as well. Not only are people looking for maybe the slightly bigger house, but if there's no commute needed to the city, as we've talked about before, then what's the reason to stay paying potentially the bigger prices closer to the CBD? You might as well move out, get the bigger lot, and then enjoy the lifestyle.
A better life for some. It's certainly for me. I think it's very attractive, that life. You know what I mean? Like, and people. Look, if you're a plumber or electrician, you're not going to be able to do something like that. But certainly, if you're working behind a computer, that flexibility of moving to a regional part of Australia with the family is pretty attractive for people.
Yeah, for sure. We had a realestate.com come in and do a presentation for us a few months ago, and they were showing the areas that have the biggest hits online for people looking. Northern Beaches was second, closely behind Central Coast for the state. Second most searched region. Yeah.
And the people that are coming to us are not coming from Port Macquarie, Newcastle to the beaches. They're coming from the more the centre of the city, and they're moving one or two regions out. So the people that are coming to us, we're getting at the moment eastern suburbs. We're getting inner west, or mostly we're getting like North Shore, like your Mossman, Neutral Bay type of people going. You know what? There's that necessity to go to work is not there anymore, or it's there less. We're prepared to make the move.
Yeah. Anything else?
And I hope we've helped people out there on the rental market. So in summary, we have seen stock drying up crazy. There is a very, very low amount of stock in the rental market at the moment, a record low. In summary, we think at Novak that the market is going to go absolutely ballistic, the rental market, particularly over the next 3 years, and it will be an unprecedented amount of rental growth, i.e. the rental figures going up and up and up in the next 3 years. It's going to be bananas.
That's it. Thanks,
buddy. Take care, Billy. Thank you. Cheers, mate.